Good evening, viewers. My name is William Theo-Harding, and I'm here with another episode of the Green Chronicles. I've decided to name this talk session the Green Chronicles, and we'll be discussing topics centered around green energy and its effect on the environment. Today, actually, we'll be talking about green energy. In episode 1, we discussed about the harmful effects of fossil fuel usage on our environment. But today, we'll be looking at solutions and we'll be looking at green energy. Now, what do we understand by green energy? Simply put, green energy, these are sources that do not diminish or do not deplete themselves over a period of time. Instead, they replenish themselves, right? Example, when we talk about green energy or we talk about sources of green energy, we talk about sunlight, we talk about wind, we talk about flowing water, we talk about organic materials. These generally do not deplete over a period of time. Now, unlike fossil fuels, they do not also release carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide into the air every time we use them. Africa has about 40% of the world's solar potential, and over 600 million Africans still lack access to electricity. This is not a coincidence, but it's a challenge and an opportunity all rolled in one. So let's take our time and dissect what I just said. Now, first of all, green energy means cleaner air, right? It means lower hospital visits due to respiratory diseases, right? It means reduced carbon emissions, and it offers more stable economies, right? It also creates jobs for locals. Now, for example, in Nigeria and Kenya, right? A study showed that when solar mini grids were installed in rural areas, income went up, right? Small businesses could operate for longer periods of time because of the presence or because they had access to electricity. And also, according to a 2024 study from Stanford and UNEP, mini grids in rural Africa increase productivity and reduce fuel poverty by over 60%. So we are not just talking about energy, we are talking about dignity, we are talking about the freedom to overcome darkness, we are talking about the freedom to grow. Now, let us also look at the economics of green energy, right? Let's talk money. Let's be honest, nothing moves without money, right? Renewable energy isn't just clean, it is also cheaper in the long run, right? Solar and wind are now the cheapest and lowest cost sources of electricity in many parts of the world. No fuel cost, minimal maintenance, and once it's up and running, you just have to maintain, you just have to keep and ensure that it is in good condition, good working order. The International Energy Agency reports that solar power is the cheapest form of electricity. In West Africa, solar is 60% cheaper than diesel-based power generators. Now, let's not forget green hydrogen also. Now, green hydrogen is in its baby stages. It's a rising star. It's clean, it's versatile, and it could become Africa's next big export, right? Hydrogen made with solar power from our deserts, for example. We have the Sahara Desert. We have a large land to generate or to place panels to generate electricity and supply to other countries or export them to other continents. But let's not get too excited here. Let us also look at the human side of green energy, and we are talking about how it affects us, how it affects us as humans, how it affects our everyday lives, right? Let's look at the just transition. Let's take South Africa for example. Now, South Africa, a coal plant in South Africa named the Komati coal plant, they tried to transition to green energy. But the mistake they did was they didn't take the community along. They didn't involve the community early enough. What happened? Jobs were lost, people were angry, the vibe was bad, and rightly so. They had every right to be angry, right? That's why we call it the just transition. It's not about just switching fuels. It's not about just stopping or halting the use of fossil fuels. It's about making sure that the people also come along. You have to train the workers, you have to offer alternatives, you have to listen to communities. Otherwise, green energy just becomes another problem in the long run. Now, what can we do, right? We first of all should learn about our country's energy mix, our different sources of energy, and how they interact with one another, and also how they affect people within the environment and within the country as a whole. Secondly, we advocate for green energy. Solar energy in Africa is now affordable, right? We advocate for solar energy, especially for mini grids in rural areas. Advocate for mini grids in rural areas. Seek fundings from organizations that are willing to offer help to those communities. And also, we should support policies that push renewable energy. Now, before I end this episode of episode 2 of the Green Chronicles, I would want to leave you with this. Africa's future doesn't have to be fossil. It can be clean, it can be green, and it can be ours. We are not inheriting the planet from our ancestors. We are borrowing it from our children. Thank you, and tune in next week for another episode of the Green Chronicles. Thank you.